doing this thing. Welcome to Rage Quit Wire. We got myself, Pete, here with the infamous Chris.
Why do I have to be infamous?
Oh, man. Each time you open your mouth, it's radio gold.
Hey, I'm a nice fucking guy.
And then we got the Mountain Man, John.
Yeah!
Woo!
What'd you say?
What?
What? What?
Nothing, man. I'm not infamous. Fuck you. I want to be infamous.
And then we have our soundboard extraordinaire, John Stokes.
Extraordinaire, thanks. Yeah.
You know, I think people missed it the last couple weeks. You haven't been able to, use your soundboard as much.
Well, there was a lightning storm, then there was the phone died, and then there was me getting mesmerized by the voice of Josh.
Yes. Yeah, we had that awesome interview with Josh, and he shared all the engineers' tech, and it was a good episode. So what we're doing today is we got two new models that we haven't talked about yet. We got Vet Decimate, and then we also have ourselves Vet Chisel. So we're going to talk about those two models today. And then we're, by the request of a lot of people I've been talking to on the social media, especially Twitter, a lot of people have been asking about brewers, kind of like, I'd like to hear more about what you guys think about brewers. They had a lot of...
How Decimate gets used, Vet Decimate.
Yeah, Decimate, but also a lot of people want to hear some esters information because that's the sexy hotness, and everybody's like, oh, if you're a good brewer player right now, you're playing esters. And then all of a sudden up in Canada land, we have Tapper win the Nationals.
That's funny right there, buddy. That's funny.
That's good. So we're going to talk about that, and then we have some random questions, and we'll also have a little update with the STC. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today. So, John, we got a bunch of games up in Asheville this week.
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? Oh.
And we both decided that at 1 o'clock in the morning we should not be playing Guild Ball. I went for a goal run that there's almost no way I could have made. And John went for takeouts that it's that was kind of dumb. And yeah, we just did that till about 1:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I tried to kill Hoist a lot. That was fun.
Yeah, and I tell you what, there's not many models in the game that can, one activation kill Hoist, but Vet Decimate almost does it.
Mm-hmm.
I was really yeah, this is something that should totally happen. Hoist should be able to be killed in one activation.
Well, he should, but they just haven't made him like that in the
Well,
past.
they made a model that can do it in the right situation now. Go from full health to dead.
Good.
Yeah, well,
that's what should happen.
Yeah. So, looking at it, anything you guys have off the top of your head you want to kind of share? Anything just been thinking about Guild Ball? Anything you've noticed off of any of the groups or any of the news groups?
New pundit program.
Yeah, so new pundit program. So if you're a pundit, make sure that you reapply for it. Because if you don't, then you're not going to get the emails from the Giblin. So make sure that you guys are doing that. Which is actually a good reminder because I haven't done that yet.
You're welcome.
Yeah, me neither.
I printed off all the stuff at the library today.
Did you?
Yeah, I went down to the library and printed off every sheet that I needed. And...
Does that mean I got to take the quiz again?
I don't know. I haven't completed mine yet.
I think I read that the test was not part of it anymore.
Okay.
Well, in the paperwork that I had to download, it did say that you had to pass the test, the rules test. But I don't know if it's revised or what it is. But it did say that in the paperwork.
You're drinking ice water again. You know that sounds terrible on the podcast. Yeah, see? Awful. Now I got to edit that out.
No, you don't.
What an
First of all, I
asshole.
didn't even make any noise. You had to bring it up, and then I had to make noise.
There it is. See? All that coming right over the podcast.
No ice water.
That's so awful. So, Yeah, anything, I know, John, you've only, like, pretty much the games that you and I played were the most recent you've played since Spring Fling.
Yeah, yeah. End of the year, spring football. Gets a little hectic.
Yeah.
Our league has been going well.
Yeah, we've been running a rookie league. We're going on to, or into our third week. Pin Vice. Salvo, for me, is starting to do some things, so that's cool.
Same with me and Boiler.
I took the blaster mode, so I'm starting to actually do damage with him. So.
See, I took the puppy pal, so I get to play with the dog for good or ill.
Yeah. Go get the ball. Come here, boy.
So anyway, so we got the rookie leagues going, the upcoming Southeast Team Championship, all that stuff.
Yeah, and just we'll get into the team championship later.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
But looking at kind of leagues and stuff, I think summer is the ideal time to run like the escalation league, to run the rookie league. So if you're a pundit and you're looking to kind of get your group interested, the summertime's a really good time to be doing this stuff. So I would recommend anybody who's kind of either growing a group or wants something fun for their group to do during the summer, that you do something like that. I think last year we did the escalation league. We also did, we ended up doing the big league. So we actually had a cool event last year where we did one like in between Charleston and Myrtle Beach. We did a big league event, and I kept track of all the scores and stats for everybody. And it's a lot of fun, and a lot of people get into it. So yeah, just recommendation for pundits out there, just people wanting to get people excited.
Yeah. So,
other news.
Is there other news?
Oh, there is.
Okay, what's the other news?
So apparently the boat got lost.
Oh yeah, those fucking falconers. Shit.
So everybody was getting all excited because falconers were supposed to come out this week.
Falconers, that first
Or
blacksmith's box. I mean, like, I don't know where they send these boats, but it must be through the Bermuda Triangle or something like that. Because this is insane.
Yeah, so they end up going through the Bermuda Triangle, and now we have the boats delayed, or they can't find the stuff, or whatever happened. But now the new release date isn't until August.
Well, I guess we'll run our Falconers release event later.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just like...
That'll be convenient for you, because you're always gone during, like, June now.
Well, that's just for this, because I'm going through all that adoption stuff, so...
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, now you'll be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great, and... I had a couple people asking, like, hey, when you guys going to do the new, next episode? Even Jamie was like, hey, yeah, I need something to listen to. Where's all the podcasts at? And I was like, well, I'm out of state, so we'll get one done.
Well, you're in a state of the podcast, so...
Yeah, I mean, I could have, but, hanging out with the new kid and all.
Are you going to, like, recruit him into the...
He's
community?
He's a strategist. I'm telling you, he's gonna.
Have you guys been playing games up there or what?
Yeah, he was into the minis and stuff. I think
he was telling Pete how the world works is what was happening.
He's like, let me break this down for you in a way that you can understand.
We went
Did
to
he
dinner.
say that?
Oh yeah.
About
at
what?
Least 4 times at dinner, the kid goes, "Well, let me tell you this in a way that you can understand."
So. Fits in great because he's a smart ass, so he fits right in.
I'm gonna like this kid. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, had a great time. It was a good time. I mean, delayed the podcast a little bit, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
recruiting a
good news.
Nerd kid that also likes football, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him some Green Bay Packers stuff just because I know you'll love that.
There you go. John let him wear his first helmet ever, and I thought he was gonna he's on cloud 9. It was ridiculous.
He wore that helmet through the entire Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, we watched the whole movie of Ghostbusters, and he wore it for half the movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, delayed Falconers.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I'm excited to
about that
play them.
I was a little pissed off at first, but then after we played all those games, Pete, and I could not figure out how the synergy and all that shit. I'm really pumped now that they're going to be delayed.
Give you more time to work on them.
Let me have Minx for a while longer.
Yeah, yeah. So
regular Minx.
We did try to get Vet Minx to work in his hunters list, and it was a little more challenging than we thought it was going to be.
Okay.
What were some of the challenges you were having with Vet Minx, John, in your hunters?
I don't like to get up in the shit.
You like to hit and run?
I like to hit and run and get out of there. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get in here and hit her and do her thing, and then.
And then stay there.
There were so many times where I'd come and hit you, and I'd roll. You need the 3 for the trap to put the trap down, or for marked death, and I'd roll 2.
Yeah, because she's only tag 5.
Well, I mean, it must have been something wrong that you did, because apparently any sort of dice roll complaints, that's not valid. So, as I have learned.
So John
Yeah.
did need to do some dice research because he was rolling like hot trash there for a while.
I'm just saying, like, the only thing it could be is a mistake that you
But
made in how you rolled your dice.
Getting back to Vet Minx, though, she's a 5/1, though, for most models that are damaged coming back into her. So, I mean, why weren't you having too much success with that, John?
Because if they heal, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What were the problems? It was 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't remember. I just know it was bad.
Well, I think the other problem was I was playing Vet Harriet, so I was farming the bear to sucker punch her.
Oh, Jesus. We can talk about how broken she is.
Yeah,
Fuck Harriet.
I like that bear farm, though. Thanks for bringing that bear.
Well, see, and that's the thing that John ended up going to this high defense list just because you really can't afford to give a sucker punch like farm. So you got to make that difficult for her and Hoist to do that. So
It was my first complaint about Harriet when she first come out is, okay, I bring the bear because I want to outfight the engineers. I want to get in their face and fight. But then Hoist copies Sucker Punch, hits the bear 4 times, and kills the Rolla.
yep, yeah, that happened.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I look at when I look at that bear, is whenever you have something that you can not normally get, the bear is a good way to create that, whether it's siding blows.
Yeah, it's a good way to get the high end of your playbook.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it changed, but Harriet changes the matchup completely for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like now, what was the list I had success with? It was Scatha, Fahad, Zarola, Vet Minx, Matagi,
And Jakar.
and Jakar.
Yeah.
So it was all 5s and one 4.
Yeah, and one thing I think we found out that we kind of did like is when you took Minerva and she started doing the knockdown, putting down the Harrier, and you pretty much deleted any engineer that you started swinging into pretty easily.
Yeah.
So that was something that surprised me. Like, even Hoist went down relatively easy when you put that Harrier out.
Oh, and then I did the Minerva and O'Hearn singled out, I spied.
Plus 4 tack.
Here, attack 10 Jakar. Here you go.
Yeah, that made me feel good.
Yeah, those Harriers are awesome.
Yeah, so hunters are gonna love those Harriers. I think like it's gonna take some more playing to get used to it, but man, I'm telling you, those Harriers are gonna be good for those hunters. Because even I had to remind you, you did. I think you pinned me or something, and you're like, okay, that's 2. I'm like, no, remember it's 3 because I'm in the Harrier.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It's hard to fit who comes out of the lineups for one of those Falconers to go in right now, and then I'm losing that snare from Minx.
Yeah, I think the snare is going to be kind of the tough thing where it's like, where's all your snare targets going to come from now? So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe John will throw Chaska out there every now and then now.
No.
I think John and I are apparently one of the few people that play hunters that aren't a big fan of Chaska.
Not doing it.
Well, we've had arguments.
Yeah, I've generally heard other people liking Chaska, and I know you guys don't.
Well, like I said, John and I generally play the same where it's kind of like hit and run, and Chaska's just over there blasting people and just sticking around to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, to each his own, though. I mean, definitely Chaska can work if you set him up. So, I mean, I'm not saying he can't work, but, he does what he does. I've been playing engineers a lot, so I've been getting my hands on Harriet, and she's been awesome. I definitely think, unless I'm playing against like a high defense team, she's probably in my list most times. Just because Inspiring Hat's awesome, Dodge a Wrench is awesome. She gets a free character play if she's by the captain. So it's just she's been awesome. I've really been enjoying playing her and just kind of figuring out how to use her.
Oh my God, she is so good.
Yeah. I mean, a free character play that she's going to get momentum for if she's with, Ballista. And then I always put 2 on her generally just because, like, you get your free and then you get, your 2 cost, Sucker Punch or whatever you want to do with it, Disarm. And she's just a boss.
Sucker Punch needs to be once per turn.
That would fix it for sure.
And she's she's hard to kill. I remember when I started attacking her and I was like, okay, that's 3 damage or whatever. What's she down to? And you're like, She's down to 13. I'm like,
So
what the?
I tell you what would fix it. You don't even have to make Sucker Punch once per turn. You just
But
make
I strongly recommend that.
no. You make it so it's not a Guild Ball result because then Hoist can't do it 5 times.
Yeah, that really helps too. Yeah.
Well, no, but if you make it once per turn, then Hoist can do it, but only once.
Well, even if you do it where it's not a Guild Ball, he can still do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
but
Because then he has to spend 2 to do it instead of doing it for 1.
yeah, no, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, I think that there's a virtue in it being a Guild Ball result. I just think that it has to be once per turn.
I mean, yeah.
Like that.
Because if it's not a Guild Ball result, then you can't use a low defense model to farm for it either.
To generate for it, but
Yeah.
she doesn't really do that. Hoist is the only one.
She does it. I've done it a couple times because she gets it on 3, not 2.
But what is her tack?
Tech 5,
Okay, so I mean, you're rolling
just like
against a model.
Hoist.
You're rolling against a model that has 1 armor, and it's most likely that she's.
Yeah, but you put it in. That's what I'm saying. You don't do it all the time, but you do it in situations that you're likely to be successful.
I think it's reasonable for Hoist to be able to get it off one time, easy first result. I'm cool with that. It's just constantly doing it 5 times is brutal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and it's just she can do the same thing though without too much setup. She probably needs a buddy to get it pretty consistent, but she can still get it for sure. So we looked at her. She was really good. I had a lot of fun with her. She is manageable though. I mean, I've played against a bunch of people with her, and you can manage her. You just got to know what she does, and just know that she can pry the ball loose. Just know that she can do that sucker punch. She's going to hang out near Hoist and the captain. So as long as you know that, you can manage her a little bit. Now,
I know how I managed her.
Yeah, how'd you manage her?
Vet Decimate managed the fuck out of her.
So that's what I was going to say. Now, I feel like Vet Decimate is harder to manage.
Jesus.
So, John, you want to describe the 6 that you brought her with? Because I feel like this was an amazing 6.
Let's see. My 6 it was Esters and Quaff, Spigot, Vet Decimate, Stoker, and Friday.
Yeah. So I think Stoker, you could put almost anybody in there. I mean, Stoker was just there to help out. But your game was basically, hey, let's set up Decimate to murder whatever she goes into.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, let's make her +1 tack with Bag of Quaffers. Let's give her +1 strength with Esters. And then let's go ahead and tool her up. So, you're doing 5 damage on the high end of your playbook and you're wrapping for days.
Yeah, and it's get out of her way and kill her. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
You have to kill her.
Yeah, and engineers, that can be tough to delete her just because she does have tough hide, so it's hard to kind of do that in one activation, which is kind of what you want to try to do.
Right. Especially with her amazing counter.
Yeah, and then I also shared with you the fun tech of, hey, you can put defense on Friday to make her 6 defense and cover.
Right. Disclaimer, I'm a very, very new Brewers player.
Yeah.
That was fourth, fifth game?
That's what I'm saying, though, is with Decimate, I mean, that was like your, second or third game with her, maybe?
I think it was my 3rd game with her.
And then just with me giving you a couple, tips on, hey, try doing this, this, and this, it was so brutal to play into. It was I missed my deadbolt turn 1, so that kind of sucked, but...
Yeah, that ended Harriet right there.
Yeah. That would have gave me some time to kind of try to do something. So she's brutal. That stagger knockdown's brutal. Just the damage she can put out is just brutal. She's a good model. She's kind of what the Brewers needed to be competitive because obviously they just won a national tournament, and
but the nation was Canada.
I mean, you had Pat Van Valza
That's
from
right.
Strictly the Worst there. You had Kevin Stewart was up there. You had a lot of good players up there. You had Frank Midas. Is that his name?
Where's he from?
I mean, he's from the U.S., but...
That's my point.
Yeah.
So, but the point is that there were a lot of good players up there, and Brewers ended up taking it home, which I can't remember the last time a Brewer won, a big tournament like that.
Yeah, the key is the Esters drop now because Tapper used to be the more powerful play, and he had to activate in a very specific order, so it made it very predictable for opponents.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're predictable, that gives you some distinct disadvantages against somebody that's able to just know what you're going to do. Esther's isn't as predictable, but she just wasn't as strong. Vet Decimate makes her strong.
I mean, she
was never a bum, by the way. I'm not arguing that. I always thought that the Brewers were a lot better than people gave them credit for. But she's now...
Well, and that's why it was
strong.
funny, because this guy that played and won the tournament, he played Tapper all, was it 5 rounds, I think? So he played
the whole day.
Yeah,
Okay.
he played it the whole day.
I'm not really that surprised by that either, just because I think Tapper is strong.
He did receive in 4 out of the 5 games. So Tapper's really good in that receiving game.
Yeah.
And then the other matchup, I just listened to that somebody interviewed him today, and he was saying that that was why he picked Tapper, and then also the other matchup where he was kicking, he liked Tapper in that matchup too. I think it was a fish matchup. He liked Tapper better into that matchup.
Yeah, but he didn't list lock himself. I mean, he still had the ability to take.
Yeah, he said he likes Esther's. He played her a lot in season 2. So this guy's been playing Brewers for a while, so it's really cool to, like I said, cool to see him do really well.
Yeah, that's always awesome when there's someone that they've stuck with that guild, and finally that guild gets that turn to be toward the top of the list. That's always a nice...
Yeah, see, and I started off with Brewers, but I'm kind of like John, where I'm a hipster, and I'm like, I don't want to play them now because they're kind of the cool hotness right now.
You guys are in Asheville a lot.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with them, but I just can't jump on it because it's the cool, strong team now, so I just gotta stick out with the Hunters, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the Hunters might be one of the new hotnesses, too, when these Falconers come out.
I can't wait for those Falconers.
I don't know.
Awesome.
So, yeah, she's a strong model right now. And do you guys think that, I mean, did the Brewers really need this big of a push to kind of get over the top? Did they need a model this strong?
They needed a strong model, but I mean, and this model Vet Decimate does everything.
Yeah,
it might almost have been too much.
She can reposition, she can score, she can throw models off the board, she can kill models, and you can just kill a model a turn easy with her, if not 2. So it's really cool to see a model do that, but it's like, damn, this model, like, if you mess up, this model is going to fuck you up.
Yeah,
personally, I would...
Too far.
Go ahead. Sorry, John. What did you say?
I was just saying, I think they went a little too far. I think you're right. They needed something strong, but I think she was just a little too much. Not by a whole lot, though. I mean, it's not like, oh my god, overpowered. You gotta nerf her now. Like,
a lot of people say if you take that stagger away on 5, then she's not as bad there because that -2 defense sucks. And if you take that away, and if you maybe take away either the reach or an inch of movement, that might tweak her enough where she's good, but it fixes it a little bit. So I think that you might see us, like you said, I don't think she's way over the top, but she just needs to be tweaked a hair to bring her in line, I think.
One of the big things to make her not so good would be just take away that tackle push. That is ridiculous on 3.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
Especially since she already has 2-inch reach.
Yeah.
So she already has a reach advantage over a lot of models. So she doesn't need a reach advantage. And yeah, I totally understand what you're saying on that.
Yeah, so it's been fun learning the new models. I've played a little bit against a guy in our meta. He's been running veteran Hot Topic Hemlock. So she's been cool to see too, just because she has Midnight Offering and she has Blind. So it's really cool to see that model being run. It really helps the Morts out quite a bit.
That's our OG Morticians player, right?
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
He's the first one to pick up Morticians here.
But I tell you what, even so, Jeremy, John, this, he's kind of a really casual player, but I mean, I tell you, Vet Hemlock was giving me some issues when I played against him, just because I'm like, man, this effing blind, and he's repositioning, and he was playing Scalpel, and I'm like, Scalpel's fucking annoying. So,
well, I was watching you guys the other day, and it looked like you were kind of taking that model into the lab, so to speak, and working with Jeremy as far as how to figure out this model, and those are always really good experiences within the meta to be able to, lab out and experiment out a model.
Yeah, and I think that's what you need to do with just when you're doing these casual games, and that's what John and I were doing
Yeah.
up in Asheville, because we played like 6 games in 2 days.
Yeah.
And
Freaking nerds.
yeah, and we were like, we'd kind of workshop and be like, yeah, I think this lineup might be better. If you drop this, I'm probably not bringing this model. So it's good to talk that out with people just to figure out how it's going to work better.
I just imagine you guys being up there and you guys are nerding out, playing lots of Guild Ball, and your significant others are just talking about like therapy.
Well, they were passed
No, this
out.
This is what we started at like 9:30, so
Yeah.
they went to sleep.
That was their bedtime. Yeah, and it was fun though because we were drinking some beer, hanging out. I think in my 3rd beer, I think I started mismeasuring some things.
Well, were you?
I picked up
widgets?
I picked up my 6-inch widget
How
and I
could
moved
you-
I
I don't
moved hoist
understand.
and John's like, "Hey, is that your 6?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like,
Oh,
"Doesn't hoist
Joe,
only move 5?" I was like, "Yeah."
I completely got Joe's back. There were so many times Pete cheated, and I was,
So many times.
I know. Pete is a cheater. He does have that rep. Secondly,
times?
I am shocked. How can you mismeasure something with a widget?
I
That's
think-
literally impossible.
I think it was once. You're saying so many times. I think it was that one time where I busted out the 6 instead of the 5.
you always do this, Pete. That's what I've always heard.
Especially when I've had some of those sweet IPAs.
well, there were a lot of times I had used the old Joe line. You always do this.
You're
Pete."
always doing this, Pete. That's like the new line.
Did Pete full tilt you after that and try and 12-0 you?
I did 12-0.
No.
I did 12-0.
Oh yeah, you did 12. I mean, when Theron just decided to shoot into the air randomly instead of at your models.
I don't think he made a pin that entire game.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
So these new vet models have been so much fun, and now we have these loser vet models. I'm gonna call them the losers because that's what they are.
The consolation vet models?
Yeah, everybody gets a trophy model. So the one we haven't talked about yet because it's been a little bit since we recorded was Vet Sakana. So I'm gonna start with you, John. What's your take on Vet Sakana? That's John's take right there. Just meh.
Meh. Yeah, that's all it was meh. Okay, good. I'm not any more afraid of the fish than I was yesterday, so good.
Okay,
I mean,
so
he's cool.
so
he can be
what's
fun, but
so it sounds like you're just underwhelmed. So
Sure.
what's kind of underwhelming about this model?
I mean, it's nothing that they don't really have it already. I mean, the raise the black flag is kind of cool, I guess. But the fancy footwork, you have that in other ways to get the ball off somebody. It's rough seas that you hit on the playbook. It's seduced in a way. It gets around close control, but are you gonna? I really thought about how much other people play the original Sakana, and why are you gonna play this Sakana over the original?
So
I had that exact thought, by the way.
Okay, so you want to go ahead and give your take, Chris, and then I'll kind of share some things I do like about this.
Sure. My take is relatively simple. It's just that I see what the other Sakana can do, and I feel like the original version is just a little bit better. It's the same way I feel about the velocities. It's the same way that I feel about the sirens. Like, the original model is still just a little bit better. It's not that this one is bad. It's just that the original one is able to do a little bit more. I like that there's a momentous result on one. The cover of darkness, the poise, those types of things have such great utility. And I'm inclined to think that a lot of people will just keep taking this regular Sakana.
So I want to say, let me look at it real quick. I think there's about 3 or 4 different things that I think you guys are missing here on this, and I think there's some stuff you guys are missing. So the first thing that I like about him is that he does have a tackle on 1. Yeah, it's not momentous, but those times where you're going into like velocity, or if you're going into another high defense model and you just need to get the ball, I think that's a big deal. Another thing I like is if you look, he's going to be paired up with Corsair a lot. And the reason why I say that is because if you look, he actually has 3 damage. And it's non-momentous, but for Corsair, that's a big deal because a lot of that high-end damage that they've been, lacking because Avarice and Greed went away, this helps out a little bit right there. Also, you said, yeah, fancy footwork is like the same as rough seas, but it's not, because you can actually get this off of your playbook instead of just hard casting it. So you can, mine, another low defense model that's next to a higher defense model with the ball and just be like, oh, I got the ball. So that's something that's a big deal. And then black flag, yeah, that's kind of cute. I mean, it's probably not going to pop up all the time, but when you do get it, it's going to be helpful. And then the last thing is bag of coffers is nice, because there's been times as a fisherman player I've seen where they bring Sakana and he's really not doing anything this turn. So he's just kind of walking around, waiting for a loose ball or whatever. But now he has the ability to not just give an influence, but then also bonus time, something for his team. So I really
got bag of coffers though, but it made him a 1-3 instead of a 2-4. So it's just a bonus.
And that's fine. It's still, 2 influence that he's generating. But the fact is that you can give that to somebody, or, just use it for a bonus time for character play, just, whatever you want to use it for. And it's just, it's nice to have. It's nice to be able to throw out on, because I think that was something the fish, if you're not good at planning your whole turn out, you can mismanage some stuff. Bag of coffers lets you adjust your game kind of as you're going through the turn. And if all of a sudden you see an opportunity where it's like, oh, if I have one more influence on this model, I could score. Well, this model gives you that opportunity. It says, hey, here's that influence that, I need now to go score that goal. So I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, because you're like, yeah, it's just one influence and the other one already has 2. But this is just, it's flexible. It's kind of like old Jake's, where you can hand out where you need it.
Well, yeah, but sometimes you want him to be the one to have it, and you want to be able to put 4 on him.
Yeah.
And now you can only put 3 on him.
Okay.
So
what you do is you put 3, and then you go ahead and spend 1, then you allocate another one.
Okay, I understand that, but what I'm saying is,
and you get.
I would rather him just be 4. I'd rather him be 2-4.
Well, which surprises me though, because I know you like hammer because of that flexibility to take influence and give it where you want, and this is a model that can do that.
Yeah, but the difference with it is I would rather have it in the pool at the beginning, to where I can then assign it where I want at the beginning, instead of having to necessarily.
But there's some times in a turn where you weren't expecting something, and now this gives you that flex to move it.
I understand what you're saying. I understand why there's virtue in being able to have that adaptiveness in the middle of the turn. I just would rather have a larger pool of influence at the beginning of the maintenance phase when I am assigning it to begin with, so I don't have to activate a model in order to move that around. The difference with Hammer is going to be a model that is going to have a prime activation typically during your turn. He's typically a model that you're going to want to use earlier than later, and so him having that ability isn't a big deal. This Sakana isn't a model that you're naturally going to want to be activating early in all circumstances, and so I don't see that has as big of an advantage. The other thing that you mentioned about the fancy footwork and the raise the black flag that I actually wasn't really paying attention to, but now that you bring it up, I like him less because of it, is I don't like that he can't just buy these. He has to get them on playbook results, and a 3 is hardly a guarantee to hit on your playbook, whereas I would rather be able to buy it like Corsair does, especially Corsair. It's really easy because he's got a lot of influence.
I think most times he's getting his 3 pretty easily. He has anatomical, so I mean, a lot of times you're getting that 3 result anyway.
So yeah, I mean, I that's fine. You have a better than average chance of getting it if you're rolling against,
and you have a free bonus
model.
Time if you do bag coffers. So there you are.
Well, you already said that you have to like spend 1 to.
If you max him out, I don't think he's a model that you're going to max out all the time, but you can.
That's kind of my issue is I like the idea of being able to assign more.
Here's the thing: I think that the original is a really good scorer. He's really good at just streaking across the field, getting the ball, doing whatever. Right? He's a good scorer. This model is a useful piece in other ways. This model does other things besides scoring. This guy's he can score a goal, but I think you're also going to use them for that fancy footwork. You're going to use them for bag of coffers. And like I said, when Corsair starts beating on a model, he can actually go in and start finishing it off. So, I mean, I think Sakana is going to be, pretty decent in a Corsair list. I'm sure a really crafty, Shark player could also be really good with, Sakana on their team. Like I said, it's different, which I like, because if this was just a slightly better Sakana, well, now you're, devaluing Sakana. So this is just a different use that you can use for different matchups.
Yeah, like a slightly worse Sakana.
I don't think he's worse. I think he's different.
When I look at his playbook, I actually feel like if his playbook just got shifted a little bit, it would make this a very different discussion. If that non-momentous tackle was moved to the second column and it stayed non-momentous, and then you just shifted all of these bottom momentous results to where he could create a momentous result on one.
No, see, I like the tackle on one.
Like the old Sakana? Old Sakana had a momentous dodge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying, and that's what I think is one of the great values. I don't really care about...
See, I value the tackle on one more. Because I've seen plenty of fish players where they go into that high defense striker and they're looking to get that tackle and they can't get it because it's not on one. They have these dodges on one. So,
but if you're going to argue that it's no big deal for him to get the successful Guild Ball results on 3, how are you going to argue that it's a big deal for him to get
because a 5-0 is a lot harder to hit for an anatomical precision model. So you're not going to get as many hits because he's only tack 5 and you still need 5s. There's no armor there that he's ripping off. It's tougher for him to hit than a 4-1 model.
I'm just going to bet on this, and I guess we've made our cases here, but I'm going to bet on this that we see a lot of people still take Sakana over this Vet Sakana.
I think if you play Corsair, you're going to see more of this Sakana.
I don't know. Weak point with Corsair is really nice.
It is. I mean, I'm not saying not. And it might be one of those things where it's like, hey, whatever flavor you like is what you're going to take. But I think that in a Corsair list that this is going to have a lot of good play. So that's just me.
Yeah, I can see them both being played. I'm not saying he's terrible. He's just kind of meh, whatever. I mean, yeah, you play him.
Because especially since I've been playing engineers lately, I can see fancy footwork being fucking annoying. Be like, oh, I got my close control model here. Yeah, no, you don't. Ball's gone, pretty much.
You mean like Sucker Punch? Oh.
Yeah, Sucker Punch. And then today, we had a new veteran model from the losers bracket come out.
We did.
So this is Veteran Chisel. So Chris, why don't you get us started with Vet Chisel? What do you think about this?
Well, the first thing that they did that she absolutely needed was they shortened that damn playbook.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, thank you very much for doing that. This model is, very simply put, going to get more people to play Masons. People that haven't been playing Masons that feel like the utility isn't there, they're going to start playing Masons because of this model. And she's absolutely functional. I don't want to go as far as saying auto-include at this point, but you're going to see her a ton. And specifically that one-cost squad tactics means that Hammer is going to push some people's shit in.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be Hammer is going to be a nightmare with this model because she's got 2-inch reach, so she can go in and engage a bunch of models, and then Hammer's going to be able to use the squad tactics to just wreck models, use the knockback that he has to bounce around and take out more models. It's going to be a wrecking machine.
Well, and here's the thing: it's not even just Hammer. It's like it's anybody. It's like anybody that this is target other friendly model gains assist Chisel. So you don't have to. I mean, of course, Hammer's going to benefit from this a lot. So would Honor. But the fact is, like, you could put this on anybody. You could say, okay, we're going to assist Tower, and then Tower goes in and just destroys somebody. So it really can be any model that and it's a 2-inch reach model. So I think this is the first assist model that we've had that hasn't been 1-inch reach.
Yes.
That's a big deal. I mean, because you can, lock on a player and, if they're not a 2-inch reach model, they can't really push you away or dodge away without taking some damage or, just being annoyed by this chick.
I mean, not only does she buff Hammer, and she's engaging them to buff them, she's also taking that counter knockdown that Hammer would have taken.
Yeah, you want to explain that, John?
The share the burden is pretty much what Millstone used to do, but once per turn.
Yeah, I almost flipped. We were sending this, to each other, and I was like, did they not learn from Millstone? And then we saw it was once per turn. And I was like, okay, thank God.
Yeah, like, oh, you knocked Hammer down, so Hammer stands up or clears knockdown and comes in and starts doing his shit again, and you counter and knock him down. Well, she takes it, so fuck you.
Yeah, so you're not knocking Hammer down and you're not pushing him away. So hopefully you have a dodge to get away from Hammer. Otherwise, you're just gonna die.
Yeah, Hammer's going to be a nightmare, and he's already good, so he's going to be a nightmare with this model. The momentous 2 damage on 2 is awesome.
Yeah, 2-on-2 is always fun to see.
Yeah, and the fact that it's momentous is such a big deal. And then, granted, it's at the end of her playbook. She's only 5 tack, but that 5 tack and getting a push dodge and 3 damage is
and also talking about Hammer, I would love her during Hammer's legendary turn because then she's getting +1 damage on top of that. And it's just like, man, that's just awesome to see.
Yeah, she's going to be great. I'm really excited for this model.
And let's not overlook that momentous tackle on 1.
Yeah. And they increased her kick. So now instead of her being a 2/6, she's a 3/6.
Yep.
So she's not going to be one of those turn 1 goal threats, but in the middle of a game, she goes in, she's got some reach on a model, she tackles it off, gets a kick off. You're able to give her a nice fat amount of influence, giving her 4 instead of only 3 or something like that. She's going to be her strong model. This is kind of the opposite of the thing that I argued about Sakana, where I felt like Sakana is still going to be preferable. In this case, I feel strongly, much more strongly in the other direction, that she's going to be preferable. I don't know why you would play the other one. The other one doesn't see much play anyway. This vet version is definitely going to see a ton of play.
Yeah, only people that prescribe to Jan's school of thought of of Chisel is going to use the original. And I mean, after this model, I don't even know if Jan would use the other Chisel because this model is doing a lot of what the old one did. Just not as much, with trying to balance her hit points and doing the extra damage.
She's so hardy, like with this new model. The new model is
3-2.
So strong.
She's 3-2, got 13 boxes.
And doesn't have to wreck herself to do anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that old model, man, I don't know.
And the last thing that I know you're going to like, Chris, because you like this whole bluffing mechanic, is the adaptive strategy, where you can pick a model and you can move the influence that's on that model to another one.
Yeah, so I noticed how it said that to the chosen model. Does that mean that it has to go on her, or you just choose another model in the pulse?
So what you do is during the activation, you choose a model. So you choose an other friendly model. So notice it says other. Within the aura, you take the influence off of that model and you allocate it to the chosen model. So basically, you're taking it from one model and just moving it to another.
So do both models that are interacting with this have to be in the pulse?
Let's see here. Within the aura, remove any influence for any model within the aura. Yeah, they both got to be within.
Okay, so the model that's going to get more influence has to be within the pulse, and it has to be another model. And then she could take influence off of herself or another model in the pulse and give it to that model that she chose.
Yeah.
Okay. I recognize that it's an ability.
And it is
we should have that conversation.
So it's not gain. Yeah. So you can't put 4 on Chisel and then put another 4 on her.
Yeah.
So just so people know that difference is, if it said gain, essentially you could put 8 influence on her a turn.
Yeah.
But obviously you can't do that because it's allocate.
Yeah. So that's good to know.
Yeah. So general thoughts off of this, the loser bracket. I mean, from what you guys are saying, it sounds like you think the veteran Chisel is the better model here.
between those
between the two.
between those two,
Yeah.
between the two chisels, like it.
No, I'm talking about between Chisel and Sakana, the vet models.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and
for
as
sure.
it should be though. But if the fish got another good model, would they? I mean, we'd be calling for fish nerfs because their win percentage is already super high.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Ooh. This Chisel model has a 10-inch threat. That's interesting. I like Vet Chisel a lot. I mean, if I'm going to pick out of the two, I'm going to say that I like Vet Chisel more. I do agree with you guys. Sakana is kind of like, do you like the flavor and where do you want to use them? Chisel, I could see being used a lot with either captain. She's good.
I'll go as far as saying that Chisel is probably a better vet addition than Harriet is to the engineers.
Oh,
strong.
blasphemous! No.
And I think highly of that Harriet model with the engineers, but I think that Chisel will make this whole guild so much better.
I mean,
because
I don't agree with that.
The Harriet model really is a huge buff for Hoist. That's where the big advantage
So
is.
that's what people focus on, but I'm going to tell you now that I probably have more than a dozen games with Harriet now. I thought that too initially, but the Inspiring Hat is huge. The free character play that she gets is huge. The fact that when she damages a model and the ball scatters, that's huge. It gives the engineers so many more chances to position and to get the ball and to kill a model, because she has a 2-on-2 as well. And she's pretty hard to kill. She has 16 boxes. She's a 4-1, which is one of the toughest defensive stats in the game. She does a ton of work. I mean, Chisel's good, but Harriet doesn't only just do stuff for Hoist. She's good by herself, and then she also buffs the team. I'd argue Chisel's better with Hammer, just looking at her off the cuff right now. But
Chisel is going to help Hammer or Honor or Mallet more than Harriet helps Hoist.
I mean, if you bring Chisel, then it's like, okay, do you really need to bring the monkey then? Or, now you have 2 assists.
Yeah, right, because Chisel also opens up options like playing the Armadillo.
Yeah.
Because now that said, a lot of people are still going to take the brick monkey combo, but you don't really need to take the monkey from the standpoint of Honor anymore because Chisel's able to give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, Harriet does a lot more. Harriet can pry the ball loose. She can go get the ball. She's faster. She has a better kick, better defensive stats. She has...
she's a 4-1, right?
Yeah. She has Inspiring Hat, so free dodges when you're kicking the ball around, which is what engineers do. So, I mean, I agree Chisel's good, but I just think that Harriet can do so much for either captain. She can do so much offensive, defensive. She's
let me ask it this way. How many people do you see that because of the Harriet model, it's making them decide to play engineers? I know for you it did.
I mean, there were 7 people at the Canadian National Championship.
Out of how many?
Out of 29. It was the most
were engineers players.
Guild.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
really hack engineers.
I kind of believe that this Chisel model will create a situation where there's a much stronger slide.
See, I don't think that's true at all anyways, because the Masons are already a popular guild. We had Spring Fling, we had like 20 of them, not really, it was like 9, but it was the most popular guild there. So it's just, they're already a popular guild. I don't think she's going to be something that's like, oh my god, I'm going to play these guys now because of her. Like, I like the Masons already. I would play her in my Masons. She's going to be a positive addition, but I mean, Decimate and Harriet are just stronger models. They do more, and that's saying a lot because that Chisel is doing a lot.
I believe in the Decimate thing. I just think Chisel is going to be better than Harriet.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're probably splitting hairs with this, honestly.
That's why I said I was making a bold statement.
Yeah, bold move, Cotton. See if it pays off.
Sure.
All right, John. What's your thought on Vet Chisel or Sakana? Just before we move on.
Sakana doesn't make me want to play fish. Chisel makes me want to throw the Masons on the table and goof around with them a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like Chisel. She's just, I'm looking at her like, I guess I gotta, maybe get the Masons back out. And, fail with them like I did at spring cleaning. So, that being said, no other news besides those two models really coming out. They're going to keep coming out with them, on a relatively consistent basis. What's the release date for this box? You guys remember it's July, was it 21st?
Before the Falconers.
Yeah, before the Falconers now. Unless they get lost on the boat.
Oh,
What's the release date supposed to be, or what will it be?
Okay, what's it supposed to be?
I don't know.
What will it be then, John? Tell us what it will be. Next year.
2019.
All right, so if we're looking at, let's go back. So it's going to end up probably being July 21st because usually they've been doing these releases the third weekend of the month. So it's probably going to be that weekend or that week of July 21st, as I'm guessing. So be interesting. All right, so that being said, we got a couple questions. Some of them are serious, some of them aren't.
Screw you, Klein.
Why do you say screw you, Klein?
Him and his goofy ass questions.
I think Fork You Klein is.
Why is Sad Kana so sad?
Sad Kana.
Because you touch yourself at night.
Wow.
I don't know. Whatever. All right, questions.
Hold on, I was pulling this up. I had it on here, and now I'm going to have to edit stuff. Damn your eyes. All right, here we go. All right, so...
Oh, we got a good question from Christopher
UN.
Who puts questions on our own freaking
I know, right?
post? What a tool.
Chris is like, I was just trying to get, the group going here. Trying to spitball it a little bit.
Well, now, when I asked this question, the reason why I asked the one that I asked was, this was before, we had a little preview that we were going to be getting the Chisel model as something to talk about today, but when the question was asked on Facebook, that hadn't been public knowledge.
Yeah.
And so that I was kind of hinting at that for Masons players to tune in.
Very good. So, yeah, they're getting a buff. It's called Vet Chisel. She's pretty good.
Yep.
So, question answered there. So, Mike Klein apparently is getting a dream team together to come steal our loot for the STC. And John, can you either confirm or deny this?
I can confirm that he has not paid, and if you don't pay, you don't play.
Ooh, so you're saying if we get the Southerners to take all the spots, then he can't play.
And I do have rumors. I have heard rumors of upwards of 20 plus teams, so you better start PayPaling me.
Yeah, so you said you got room for 12 teams, right?
12, and I cannot go over.
And we
That's all
have
in the brew.
and we have 3 right now that are paid up front. And I know that we got a second team maybe thinking about it for Charleston. You're going to have at least one from Asheville. Knoxville's talking about bringing 1 or 2. There's one up in Raleigh. I think they already have one registered.
They have one. Talking about another. Nashville might have one. None of the Atlanta teams have paid, and they've rumors of at least 2 there. Rumors of at least 2 more in Greenville. So we'll see what happens.
I think it's going to be one of those things where people start signing up, and then next thing you know, there's no spots left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I do have all the swag bag stuff ordered. The swag bag will get your money back for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say last year, the swag was I think that was one thing Chris and I were really impressed with when we met up in Greenville. That it was like, holy cow, this is like so much more stuff than we paid for. I got a tournament tray last year. We got a bunch of dice, custom widgets. What else did we get? We got a bunch of stuff. Models. I think we got a limited edition mist out of it.
Yeah, there's something cool like that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely worth your money just kind of coming down. Plus, you get at least 3
I heard
games.
that whoever wins, that John is going to make them a custom goal of their choice.
Hashtag fake news.
I'll tell you what, that would get people excited to sign up earlier, though. If that was an offer, John, you should consider that.
You are speaking to the winner of best goal from Spring Fling.
It's true.
That is true. Your goals are awesome.
They are. His brewer one is a guy doing a keg stand.
Oh man, the keg stand Brewers goal is badass. I love it.
It is. It's pretty sweet. You're a USA All-American Brewers.
Red, white, and Brewers.
You got to get the Das Boot out.
Oh man, I've actually found some like little DOS boot shot glasses, and I thought about using one of those somehow.
There you go.
You gotta have one. What do they call it? A shoey when somebody drinks the beer out of the shoe.
Yeah, the boot.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'd have a real shoe. I've seen that. It's gross.
That's something.
Well,
like,
no. Like have a model that has a shoe that they're drinking out of. Is what I'm saying.
So.
I'll go with the keg stand.
So I'm gonna ask this because Ben always likes giving Chris shit. Ben Rose commented. He said, "Who's more broken, Vet Decimate or Pre-errata Thresher?" Chris, what do you think?
Oh, pre-errata Thresher for sure.
For sure.
No one's ever been as broken as that.
I'm gonna take this question seriously. As a single model, or like within their team? Because as a single model, Vet Decimate.
Yeah, I mean,
even as a single, no, like that. Pre-errata Thresher was like such a super solo.
yeah, but Thresher did need a lot of setup. Like, there's a reason why they nerfed 3 models and not just Thresher.
Well,
Like, if you're gonna nerf something, you're not gonna nerf the other brewers in this. You're gonna nerf her.
Okay. So, did he need things like the harvest markers and those types of things? Like, yeah, of course. But Decimate needs things like something like tooled up and stuff for her too.
Yep.
So
I mean, so the thing is, though, she doesn't need it. It just makes it where she's like way over the top. Like, she can be a first activation and go tear shit up. She doesn't need the setup. It just makes it where she's going to, shit in your cereal.
yeah, that was Thresher to everybody.
Yeah, but he needed a harvest marker. He needed millstone so he didn't get knocked down and this stuff. Yeah, it's just. I understand what you're saying. I think once again we're talking about maybe
Thresher is the most broken model that the game has ever had.
Okay, what about millstone?
Yeah, Thresher was the most broken.
What about
model.
Tater? What about Taters?
Yeah, Tater was crazy good too, but Thresher is the most broken model. Thresher was so broken that as soon as people saw his card, there were people calling for a nerf on him before he even got released. That's how broken he was.
Yeah.
People forget that. So he's the most broken model we've ever seen.
They were talking about nerfing him before that box even came out. And I think you're right. I think Thresher was the more OP model because, like I said, Decimate is really good. Don't get me wrong, but you can see the setup coming. Like, you can see, the attack boost. You can see the second wind. You can see, everything out of that. So. Yeah, so we're waiting on John to come back. That's what that little dinging was. So it's just one of those things where, and I'll hang up the conversation and we'll wait for him to call back. So it's just one of those things where I think you're right. It's just splitting hairs.
And a broken captain has such a bigger impact than
more
a
influence.
broken individual model or squatty model. So, yeah, that's...
You good, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn Wi-Fi.
I don't know what the fuck it does that for.
Damn mountain Wi-Fi.
What are you paying all that money for?
Because Wi-Fi is not cheap up here in the fucking mountains, I guess. Because I don't know. I gotta call and yell at somebody.
Now you're echoing.
What the fuck?
I think you might be okay now.
Okay, it was just getting back to life.
Okay. All right. You good?
Yeah.
As long as that soundboard still works, I mean, that's what we really
give us
need.
a little soundboard action here. So we were just saying that probably Thresher was the more broken character. Are you kind of leaning that way, or do you think Decimate?
No, by themselves, Decimate.
Okay. So you're saying just stats by themselves, what they can do, Decimate's pretty style in there.
Yeah, because without Thresher has no harvest tokens by himself.
Yeah, to do all that extra shit.
He doesn't get his 3 damage to everybody within a mile.
Okay. So looking at it, and this is again one of Ben's questions, and we love his questions because they're always a little thoughtful. He was talking about vet honor and just do we think about her? Is she playable? What does she need to be playable? And I was actually talking with Jan about this, and one thing that is a cool combo that you can do with Vet Honor is if you pair her up with Plowman, you can do the furrow, you can put that AoE out, that ground, and then if you use Honor, she can put down a harvest marker, which then multiplies to 2, and then she can pick those up because she can pick them up once per turn, and she puts them back down, and then that makes 3. So essentially you can do that and, make extra harvest markers with those combos, and on her legendary turn, you can get a crap ton of harvest markers out of it. So I think that the more farmers players play around with her, that might be a really good combo they need to explore.
I wish she had more shit with the dog.
The dog would be cool. I think she needs some more. I know she has a busted knee, but somehow to get some mobility, whether the dog, increases the movement somehow, or dodge.
Here's what I would want to see the dog be able to do, which I think would be really cool and be within theme.
Okay.
Is if the dog... So you know how Snow has like the ooh ball where it can go 6 inches? What if it had like a sheep herding mechanic where it could bring in any balls that were... what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying
like a free ball.
Yeah, a free ball. Sorry. What if she had a mechanic where she could take any free ball that was within 6 inches and the dog brought it to her?
Yeah,
herded it into her,
like a tether ball.
Yeah,
like Sava has.
So, yeah, something like that. But there's no model. There are some like Colossus that can reach a ball 2 inches away, or ones that can do something like that. But it would be nice if, because of her lack of mobility, her dog could bring in anything from a wide range, like 6 inches, to her. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that's something we mentioned when we saw her release. That would be really cool to see. And I don't know if they'll do something like that, but it definitely would be a cool mechanic to have.
And I'm all for more dog interactions.
I know, right? So let's see here. What else we got? Oh, I like this question. So we'll start with John on this. So John, I'm putting you on the spot. Okay. Aaron England asked, what 4 models deserve a buff or change for Season 4 and why?
Chaska. So I actually play him. People shut up.
So...
Wow.
So what would he need for you to make him in your 10 or in your 6?
He's got to do something for free instead of needing a full stack every turn.
Okay, so some kind of...
some way to make him more influence efficient.
I mean, but you could do that you could pair him up with Minx, and now he can, you can blessing him to do a free shotgun blast.
I mean, you could do that with Theron before, and that's how people get the 3 off. Or you can do it with Vet Hearn and get 4 off. But
so I guess he needs nothing then.
But you're still spending 4 influence and 3 momentum to do that.
So maybe something where if it's like if he's in a forest, he gets poised or something.
Anything.
Yeah, something. Okay.
Maybe just a free character play once per turn when he's within 4 inches of a captain, like Harriet has.
Okay, so that was one model. Chris, what's one model you think needs a rework?
Granite.
Okay.
Nobody plays her.
Except for Jan. Jan plays her to effect.
Okay, and Lon plays Fangtooth, but that doesn't mean that those models are in good shape. And there is something going on there where those guys are good players and they're capitalizing on other people don't know what this model does.
The dark horse factor.
Yeah, there's that element, but the Granite needs so much work. Like, there's so many things that she needs, whether it's more movement,
reach.
The list goes on and on. I'd like to see her have something like, let's see, who would be a model that has it? Maybe something like the protective instinct that Fallow has, something like that. She just needs more. And it's gonna be tough to give her something that makes her playable, because now you have another model in Vet Chisel that's gonna be so readily used.
Okay, I have 2 models, and I think you guys will agree as soon as I say these models. I was initially leaning towards Stave, but everybody knows Stave kind of needs a rework.
Right, that's why I didn't say that one.
Yep.
Yeah. But 2 models that I think you guys can agree with, and we can kind of spitball off this before we go to the next question, is the first one I would say is Snakeskin. So
Yep.
I think she needs a rework just so she's
Badly.
playable.
Nobody plays her.
Well, it's not that she's bad; it's that the union's so deep that she can't make the 10 because the other models are just that much better at what she does.
Right. Every time I make a union list, which isn't often, I don't like playing union. I'm like, she's so close, and I just like want to put her in there to be a ball holder or something because she's close.
Yeah.
But just a little something. You're right.
Yeah, because I mean, she has clone and nimble, which you like. She has a 3/6 kick, but her tack's only 5. Tackles on 2. She can put out poison, but that's not really what she's trying to do.
If they
all
just
her damage is non-momentous.
If they just adjusted her book a little bit, maybe gave her some momentous damage, maybe gave her easier tackle dodge.
Because she has venomous
whatever.
strike, so she wants to do damage, but when you look at the momentum, she doesn't have any momentous damage.
Yeah.
So why would you do that?
Yeah. Maybe give her, some more boxes, since I don't know that it makes sense to give her armor. There are a few things, but Snakeskin was one of the 4 that I was going to mention on that question.
Yep, and then the last one that I was going to mention was Venom. From the Alchemist.
That was the next one. That was my unselfish answer because I would like him.
Yeah, because I'm not, John and I both have been dabbling with, the Alchemist.
Yeah.
And Venom's a pretty cool model. I mean, I like him, especially his rookie model.
Breakdancing Venom.
Yeah, like Lucio Venom. But he just doesn't make a lot of sense when you actually look at how he plays. It's just he wants to activate late, but he also wants to activate early. His kick's a weird 2/8. He's a 4/1. It's just, I don't know. He's a weird model. Like, it just doesn't play well.
Again, he's one of those that I want to put on the table, but I just never do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to put him on the table. So I'm hoping that the rookie Venom model, that they're going to use some stuff from that and kind of use that for him moving forward for season 4. If you haven't looked at the rookie model for Venom, I'd say take a look. He has some cool things like replicate, kind of like what Hoist does. So, I mean, they have some cool things I think that they're thinking about doing with Venom. So hopefully he can be good in season 4.
Yeah. There are a couple others that I just wanted to mention that
honorable mentions, go Chris.
Okay, that I wanted to mention in the 4 that I would have chosen. I would like to see something with Tenderizer.
Yeah.
Tenderizer there's not a lot of functionality there. And I want to play him because he has that cool Jason mask. So it would be nice if he was a little bit more functional somehow. Maybe you don't attach him to the goal. Maybe he gives some sort of a defensive buff to the other butchers so they are able to be a little bit more hardy, something like that. And then the other one, and this is kind of a weird pick, but the Anvil Sledge combo for the blacksmiths, I think that needs something. I don't know if it needs a 2-inch reach buff to Anvil, or maybe you can't make Sledge more hardy, but because the dynamic there, the apprentices have to be killable. But you never see them get played, and I think that they could use some of that. Maybe Anvil gets some sort of momentous damage on his book or something. That's one that I never see people use, and I think could use a rework. And I think that Anvil model is cool as hell.
Yeah.
I've got the one I thought about. The other one is actually Scalpel, because I think it kind of sucks that there's a guild that is pretty much a one captain guild.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing though, with that new Hemlock and with the new rat catchers that have come out, I think that people are starting to play around more with Scalpel. I think at MuseonCon, I think that the third place player was just playing Scalpel the whole day. So people are starting to play around with her, and Jess Hodges does some stupid stuff with her. So I mean, I've been screwed over.
I've been victim of that.
Yep. So
I'm hesitant towards saying that Scalpel needs a buff, just from the standpoint that if you give her
a buff, but a change,
a tweak.
Yeah, but if you give her much more than what she has, like it's sort of the opposite of the rage issue, right? If you give rage, if you take anything away from Vet Rage, he's like unplayable. Like he needs all the things he has, but it makes him really strong. She's kind of in a situation where if you give her any more, she's going to be super strong, and so they would have to be very careful about how they gave her more.
All right, we already talked about Vet Decimate needs to be toned down a little bit. Are there any other models, speaking of Vet Rage, that you guys think need to be toned down a bit besides Decimate?
I think that rage can be toned down without nerfing him into the ground. I'd be happy if you just took away his quick time.
Okay. So you're saying just get rid of that 2-inch dodge?
Yeah, but then he's not going to be very playable if you do that.
I mean, he would be. It's just easier to lock him down.
You see, if there's anything that you could take away, it's like the concussion, because the other things like the way that he gets played, you need the Red Fury, you need the quick time. There's too many problems with if he doesn't have the quick time. There are so many ways that you can stop him from ever getting the charge, and he's at a severe disadvantage because he only has a 1-inch reach. So,
oh no, a disadvantage. Yeah, that's what he needs.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like it would be such a severe disadvantage that I believe that if you almost anything on this book, if you took it away from him, it would create a model that's almost unplayable.
I wouldn't say unplayable.
And by unplayable, I mean like people are going to overwhelmingly choose Blackheart instead, or in this case right now, they're going to choose... I'm expecting Brisket 3 to get a buff. But, I mean, there are some things that people forget to use anyway, like Usurper and stuff like that. Fine, go ahead and take those off. I don't think that the concussion is particularly valuable.
Usurper's coming off soon anyways, and it will only matter in mirror matches.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like those things could drop off, and obviously it would just be something less that he has. But man, if you take away the Red Fury or the Quick Time, like he's a completely different.
Well,
captain.
I don't think you take Red Fury away. But
I'm speaking to both. I think they are equally valuable.
Yeah, I think if anything, they might change some of the distances on an aura or the character play or the way he interacts with maybe some of his squaddies. 2 models that I'm going to mention that maybe need to be toned down a bit, and you guys may disagree with this or you may agree, but I've been playing engineers a lot, and some things that I play around with that are just ridiculous are Hoist probably could be toned down a bit. For an 11 hitbox model, he's one of the hardest models to kill in the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also, I wouldn't say mother specifically, but those nest markers.
Oh my gosh!
Probably need to be toned down a little bit.
They need to. It needs to cost something more because of the way Hoist can use them. So,
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't cost anything to put out. You can use them for ball retrieval. You can use them to set up for Hoist. You can. It's just they're good. They are so good to use.
I actually think Hoist is pretty fixable by just one thing. If they took away either the Tough Hide or the Sturdy, he could keep the Reanimate, and he still would be a pain in the ass. But if you could at least do normal damage to him, or at least knock him down on a shot, that would make him way more reasonable. And then, as it relates to Mother, just make it to where the nest markers cost something.
They do to teleport to them.
I'd be fine if you could just run them over and get rid of them.
Just stomp on the spiders.
Right, stomp on them just like harvest markers.
Yeah, I like that too. So those are ones that I think are very reasonable to dial down. That it's just a real pain in the ass. I'm going to say that Hammer is probably going to need to be dialed down, especially given the conversation with Chisel.
I don't agree with that.
I think that
he can be controlled by certain things in the game.
Sure, there are certain things, but I think if Hammer just didn't have, if they altered the knockback in some way, that would probably do what I'm talking about. Like I'm not saying to give him like a complete overhaul, but just maybe the knockback is worded a little bit differently, or it just doesn't allow him to ping around. Because what I think is going to happen now is he's going to just go into... Chisel's going to put up the... What's that new thing called? Sorry, I don't.
Talking about the one where she takes the condition or
No,
the assist?
The assist.
Squad tactics. So she's going to put that squad tactics up, and I think that she'll engage multiple models.
Hashtag squad goals.
And and Hammer, I think, is just going to bounce around like a pinball and is going to
Well, you want to know what?
take out a
He
bunch
can't
of
do
models.
that if he's pinned.
Sure, he can.
Yeah.
With the knockback, he absolutely can.
Nah, he's got it. I mean, once he gets into something, but the fact is, once you pin or goad him, he's going where you want him to go, which will be in a target that isn't ideal
Nope.
for him.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
I mean, there's plenty of people that would be happy if you nerfed him, but I mean, he's not. He's a good captain, and it sucks when he's ruining your day. But there are some matchups where he is just awful into, and you don't want to see it.
Sure, and those are the ones that you're taking honor. So I mean, I don't feel bad for that because
That's the way the game should be.
the situations that you're talking about aren't the ones that people should be taking him anyway. So they're not the ones that you are concerned about him getting dialed down on. Those are the ones people should be taking honor. So I'm concerned about the ones where it's an ideal matchup and now the squad tactics lets him turn into Superman and get,
Well,
heaven forbid, an 8-point activation or some crazy shit.
Well, the thing is about Chisel is she does have 2-inch reach. She does do damage, but there's nothing to stop you from just walking away from her because she doesn't have a knockdown. So, yeah, that assist is good, but it's like, okay, I haven't activated this model yet. I'm just going to walk away and take 2 points of damage or 3 points of damage, and that's it. So,
I'm kind of surprised that she doesn't have a knockdown with that big ass hammer.
yeah, you would think she had one, but she's a little girl. So
So,
maybe she just
Not
isn't-
enough upper body
Yeah, I
strength, I
guess.
guess. Huh?
Can't trip them. Minerva can do it, but apparently she can't. Doesn't make sense to me.
So,
Last question,
go ahead.
and then we'll do some STC, some just last minute plug info, and then we'll roll out of this. But Jan, my buddy, I talk about him once in a while.
Yeah, I know. You're like obsessed
He's
with
like
this
my
dude.
BFF.
Yeah, I know. Get off his dick. Go ahead.
Anyways, he says, do you guys prefer new guilds with new captains and new mascots, or do you guys prefer more squaddies for existing guilds? So do we like this minor guild setup, or would we rather see new players in existing guilds?
So, I think we had a guest on in the past. I think it might have been Bill that spoke about this very thing where some of the top end players were kind of pulled aside by Steamforge and asked, would you rather see more new models for existing guilds or would you rather see more guilds? And the consensus that was kind of arrived to was we'd rather see more guilds because if you keep releasing new models for the existing guilds, eventually it's going to just turn all the guilds kind of into the same thing.
Yeah.
And so you get more unique play styles if you get new guilds. So I would rather see them not continue to release more models for each guild. I'd rather see these new ones. I'm not opposed to seeing the minor guilds get a new captain and those types of things going into the future.
What do you think, John?
I actually really agree. I'd rather see more guilds and less. I don't want a 17 model lineup like their union has because it's just
You can only take 10 anyway.
Yeah.
right. I mean, you can't take them all, so you won't play them. There'll be a bunch of them sitting around gathering dust.
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of snake skins and fangtooths out there.
I'm kind of like, Varuk Assault here, where I want the best of both worlds, and I want new models, and I want new guilds. And you want to know what? That's awesome, because that's what we're getting right now. When you get these minor guilds, not only are you getting this new playable guild that you can have, you're also getting 2 new players for your guild. So I love the way they did this, because not only am I now getting my Jones, taking care of my Jonesing, my fix, but I'm also getting stuff for my existing guild. So I like it because we're getting both of each scenario here. We're getting, new models for our old school guilds, and we're getting, this new flavorful guild that they designed. So
And they get to come back around eventually and add more players to the minor guilds, so they get their 10 or 12. So.
yeah, and maybe that'll come around.
And just like you're not able to use the union models, maybe when they do get to the point where they're releasing new captains or whatever for the minor guilds, maybe they change it to where then the minor guilds don't get the advantages on initiative rolls.
Yeah, I think that's very doable.
Yeah, that seems like a very reasonable thing.
All right, so last thing, John, give us the stats on this STC thing, where people can sign up, the cost and the dates again, just so we're plugging it.
It's July 21st. We've rolled dice as close to noon as we can. We'll try and start registering people at 11:30.
And what's the venue again?
It is Triskelion Brewing in Hendersonville. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a cool new place, like brand new brewery just opened. We went to their they had a little tap room set up, and they just moved into this new building. We get the entire upstairs, our own private bartender, our own bathroom, our own TVs. So your $60 per team is going to the venue. Everybody gets a swag bag. I think top 3 teams are all going to get beer in some way, prizes plus other stuff. We got a bunch of custom stuff ordered. If you look on the Facebook page, there's a logo we made for it, kind of going with last year's logo.
So what's the Facebook page?
It is the 2nd annual Southeastern Team Guild Ball Championship. Something like that.
And you can also get free hugs from Lon.
Yay!
Chris is excited.
And again, we have the best TO in the land coming down to TO because I wasn't going to make it my first one.
Yeah, and we're gonna have some good players. Apparently, like I still don't believe it until he signed up. Apparently, Klein's coming, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hear he's trying to Kevin Durant us.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the guys up there that Richard.
Yep.
That lives up there, and he's like, yeah, like he's trying to put together like a super team, and I'm like, well, listen here, Golden State Warriors, we have to thwart that.
I like the team that we got.
Yeah, I like the team we got.
The big thing is, I can only take 12 teams, so people have to sign up.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can come watch.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun tournament. Like I said, we only had 6 teams last year, and it was a blast. Like, we had so much fun at that thing.
Yeah, I like that because I like team sports and things, so I like that dynamic of playing with your team.
Yeah, and like I said, don't let that it's a team tournament. Like, we don't have anybody from my area. There's also going to, like, I don't know if you've started it yet, John, or if Lon started it, but last year I know they had like a random pool of people that were like, hey, I want a team, but I don't have anybody, so anybody else looking for another teammate?
Yeah, if you don't have a team, you live in, I don't know, Montana, and you want to come by yourself, come on out and we will find you a team. I'm starting I've already sent one free agent to a team already, so just send me a message and I'll hook you up with the closest ones that I know are looking, or I'll put you in a pool and we'll find you a team.
Yeah, so don't let that kind of stop you where you're like, oh, I can't find 2 other players for my meta. Just contact either John Stokes or you can talk to Lon, and they'll get you hooked up with a team if you really want to play.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
All right, well, any last-minute mentions, comments, concerns? Good to go?
Yeah.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady?
All right.
All right, John, you can sign us off.
Rolls, eat salt, fuck dice.
Wow, just fuck it all up, huh?
Fuck. After this week, it was fuck dice, go eat salt.
Dice research. Something about dice.
Throw some salt, roll some dice. Let's go.
All right, we're out. And where's my recorder? There. Boop, doo, doo, doo.